Pretty good. You got my...
Mark my words, you won't find faster griffins anywhere in the Eastern Kingdoms than the ones right here in Thelsamar.
No!
What do you need directions to? Which profession trainer would you be looking for? That Jormund Stonebrow has a knack for the needle, he does. Should you be needing some training, then you'll find him at Stonebrow's Clothier on the northern side of the Great Forge.
You got...
Welcome to me shop! What can I do for you?
Off with you.
Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our great Xing run here in Victoria 3. Last episode we did decide to get a little bit naughty, largely off the back of we were having a lot of infamy anyways, so we figured, hey, we might as well. And also, we are doing a military-industrial complex run. We might as well just do some military stuff anyways. We're going to build up a really big army. This is kind of the goal for the run, was really to feature, hey, if we can really run up this number for goods for military buildings, we can get free economic stimulus from, the armed forces, and we're probably going to be focused on that today. This might be the last episode because performance is starting to get a little slow, but the newly created army specifically is a very, very interesting modifier because and I've said this multiple times in this episode, or in this run, but it's decreasing the amount of money we are paying for the goods, but it is not decreasing the amount of economic stimulus that the purchasing of the goods is creating in the economy. And so this means that it is free injection in the economy. There's various things that, annihilate money from the economy. So one of the examples, all of our investments are multiplied by this, and so this just deletes money. And so as late game kind of starts to brew, you're looking for more and more efficient ways to stimulate the economy if you wanted to try and go for like 10 or 20 billion GDP or something like this. And I think that this modifier actually might be one of the better ways to do it, but we do have to get to late game in order to materialize this, and so this is a little bit of a problem given performance. So we're going to try and slog on a little bit. We do have a little bit of a war here with the United States. We should be able to win quite handedly. We still have some armies we've left behind at home just in case we have to mobilize more. We're probably going to build more armies. We're going to build up these armies because this will let us kind of showcase the benefit of this minus military goods minus cost on military goods per building. We would be paying over 300,000 on military goods, so we are getting free economic stimulus in the form of like 50k, and this is a free money stimulus. It's not just that our balance is 50k higher. It's that our balance is 50k higher, and it's not taking it from anyone. So, for example, when we tax people, we take the money from them. They don't get the money. They don't get to spend it. When we get the free money modifier for decreased military goods cost, all of our military buildings still get to sell stuff, and when they're selling stuff, this is not the most profitable one, but when they're selling this 31k worth of goods, this is going to go into wages and also stimulating buy orders for everything else. And so it gets to spin through the economy. Taxes, they pull money out of the economy. This military decrease in military goods cost, that's free, baby. And if it's free, it's for me. So let's get going. So the initial war goal is just reduce autonomy on Brazil here, but we have several others coming on in. We are going to conquer Uruguay, which is just a single province. We're also going after Paraguay, which is 2 provinces. The reason we're going after them is just to remove them from the map, which is going to decrease the overall average prestige. We are also going for East Karela and also Latvia, because the goal here is we are going to try and surround the capital of Russia to decay them eventually to minor power if we were to play long enough so that we can subjugate them directly. And we're also taking Ohio because we are going to be looking to cut off market access from the east and western portions of the United States. And so this should allow us to, kind of go after them in a pretty direct way. We have a little uprising here. Some of these uprisings actually don't let us actually get to the front. If this is the case, then we will just back down to these guys. It's really not a big deal. This one we can get to. But if we back down to uprisings, we just lose our progress. We kind of have a pretty strong stranglehold on this area anyways, so it's not going to matter too much. We are struggling to keep the construction queue going. This is a little bit difficult. There's not a lot of, and our private queue is kind of going ballistic in regards to the power plants, which is perhaps further a reason to not go power plants in general, just because you get this kind of effect. But it's difficult to keep this queue going. We're trying. We're building in places where it's not necessarily super efficient, but we know we want the buildings long term anyways, so we're building here, for example, where we have minus 33% state construction efficiency. But we should probably, in areas like here where we have a lot of unemployed, not so much unemployed anymore. That's not too bad. we are going to, in particular, be focusing on these areas as well, too. So, for example, Southern and Hui, you can see we have some buildings
I've been hoping
coming
for a
in,
new student.
and
Well,
this is what
let's
we
get
will
started
be
right away,
we
then.
will be building a lot here because we have 310,000 unemployed, kind of continuing our strategy. That way we can maximize pop, towards the end of the game, because this unemployment figure, all of these pops get minus 40% to birth rate. So in some states like Southern and Hui, we are actually starting to get some levels of equilibrium of unemployment where our weekly balance is negative or we're trending down. To be fair, we're just getting over a shortage of electricity, and this will somewhat to some extent resolve. But what we've done is we've come into the trade and we deleted a whole lot of our trade when we got embargoed by everyone. But what we have done is we have put in an enormous amount of trade routes. Specifically, we are exporting everything except for 2 goods because we don't really want those goods to get produced, and that is we're not exporting meat. Because of how substitution works, it's not based on price, it's based on availability. So if there's less meat sell orders in our market, then there will be less consumption of meat. We do not want to rise the consumption of meat, so we're looking to not create any sell orders. And we are also, for the very same reason, not doing tobacco. But everything else is going out because we are trying to increase prices to stimulate the economy. Before we started trading even, we had 1.5 billion GDP. Now we're up to 1.6, and the roots haven't even, managed to go up. The war is also, of course, going very, very well for us because obviously, at some point this is just an exercise in clicking, right? And we get embargoed. Of course, we are getting embargoed, but the next biggest GDP is Great Britain. We have basically zero chance of losing any of these wars. I suppose at this point, maybe the first war when we kind of went high infamy, there was a slight chance, but realistically not really, and so we're enforcing looks to be on Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay pretty quick here, and then also on Russia. I would not be surprised if they were somewhat willing to come to the table on this, but I imagine they will not say complete yes. We enforce on Brazil, we reduce their autonomy. It looks like the USA still wants to stick in it, and of course the currently untouched Uruguay wants to stay in it, but not for long. And the USA, come on my guy, why do you not want to? I do not like that. Okay, these guys are traveling back home. We don't like that. This sometimes happens when the war leader especially gets enforced on. We will just put in here and make sure that we, kind of get a full looking, yeah, everyone's pulling back from their fronts. We don't like that. These guys are traveling back too. Very much not ideal. We will try and make sure everyone's reassigned on all the fronts. Also in the Russia HQ, this is one thing that happens, but we will continue on and force it pretty quick. Also, we've reduced taxes. This is going to stimulate prices because it's going to increase consumption in the economy. I think in theory adding more construction is better, but we are looking to squeeze a little bit more out of this run, and so we're kind of just stopping at 10k-ish, at least for now. Because the more construction we add, the worse our performance in-game will get. And so while it is better to do this because we still have a whole lot of peasants, and getting rid of the peasants is what you do with construction, well, you don't let them starve, you just give them jobs, and this would be preferable. This is another way to inject money into the economy. That's not terrible. And also we can start raking back, some of our consumption taxes as well, particularly as services starts to get consumed more and more by the lower class. We might want to stop taxing that, even though it is one of the better taxes that get in revenue. We really we want to avoid taxing this lower strata kind of block, because this will allow our SOL to rise more than if we, it's better if we tax the upper strata, because the lower strata benefits more from their own money because their needs are more linear than the upper strata, which have exponential needs as their SOL goes up. So we're going to be really aggressive about turning on automatic machine guns. I think you want to be aggressive about this PM anyways, in particular because we don't have enough leadership here. That's not ideal. Why don't we promote the ethno-nationalist? Oh, actually, I read that he was armed forces. He's not armed forces. We have been pretty aggressive about promoting armed forces boyos because we're trying to get their clout up. But more to the point, the mobilization PM this is our first support equipment PM. It, has buy orders for ammunition, which is not that efficient in terms of economics, but small arms is really efficient. So we're going to turn this on everywhere. And this, of course, we will wait until the war is kind of over. Although the war is kind of over, isn't it? Isn't it truly? Oh yeah, we already enforced on Russia, so it is over for these guys. And in particular, this will help us to stimulate the economy, in particular with the hyper-efficient small arms input. Overall, maybe not the best stimulation because ammo is not that good, as we mentioned earlier, but this will also make our armies stronger, of course. And now we have an opportunity to, maybe look for something else. Wargaming is particularly attractive, as is NCO training. NCO training is really good. I think we're going to go Wargaming, though, because it's a tier 4, and we will get it a little bit faster, and siege artillery will be a pretty nice boon. It has a lot of ammo input and artillery input, and both are not as good as, like, small arms, so, I mean, maybe we can make an argument that in terms of just thinking of the military-industrial complex, just considering this, squad infantry would be better, but we actually can't turn on squad infantry because we don't have radios.
We
could also go for submarines, which would be kind of okay, because ironclad's relatively efficient. Could go sea lane as well. There's definitely a lot of choices, in terms of just military sort of technology that we could go, but maybe we should go for a really late game. See, we're still benefiting a lot from tech spread, except for we have every technology that everyone else has except for defense and depth, and so maybe we want to go ahead of time, and if we want to go ahead of time, if we really want to research a tier 5 tech, I think the one we want is compression ignition, so why don't we go for that? It's very, very strong, and it will help us to be, a lot more profitable. It will also give us a good outlet for our oil, which we currently don't really have. We have, we don't have houseware plastics, and so we don't really have too good of oil sinks, and this will be pretty good for us. We could also go for radio, but then we have to go through telephone too. Maybe this is okay, but I think we want to try and natural spread the tier 4 techs and really push for tier 5 techs. So I think we're going to do something like that, and then maybe something like going for macroeconomics, where we are pushing the tier 5 techs before returning to the military ones. Because the military ones, in terms of stimulus, are not too terribly great. We do really like, the automatic machine gun stimulus. I believe the flamethrower is not terrible. I mean, I think that it creates buy orders for oil, which is something, we're kind of interested in. And so this would maybe be okay, but we could also go aviation for faster wars. This would not be insane, but we would have to research some other stuff first, namely something that's actually not spreading. So I'm pretty comfortable with this decision here. So we got another pretty big war kind of brewing after, going after Canada. They just backed down. Really not a big deal. We'll pause pipeline. This is interesting because we have infrastructure problems generally in South America. We can't get a lot of labor there because of the migration bug giving you about 10% of the migration. We should, in theory, this should be like flooded with home pops by now, but it's not. And so we're kind of okay getting a little bit of a free infrastructure, as it were. We have to pay for it for all time, but that's not the biggest deal. Also, railroads in general kind of just suck, so this is going to be good for us. But back to the point, we are annexing Senegal, which is one of our subjects, and the UK joined in, and so we have transfer Raj, conquer Lancashire, and transfer British East Africa, which is all going to be pretty good. Notably, we're also taking Tanganyika kind of at the tail end of this, so we can kind of colonize from here, which is also going to be nice and give us a little bit more push in. We wanted to take Lancashire because both it's a great state, has a ton of resources, but also this way it will be easier for us to enforce in the future on the UK because we can just, park an army on their face, and so this will be good for us. This war should be fairly straightforward. We've assigned most of guys to the fronts, with a couple exceptions, and then we will be doing a landing on the UK. It looks like they're just leaving about a 20 stack behind, so that's not going to be able to defend against one of our 80 stack pusher armies. And we have most of our army kind of here on the Raj, which is just going to push into them pretty casually. I think we'll probably do a lot of landings on the Raj as well, with our kind of red landing force guys, which are half lancers, half trench infantry for the most part. And we get to bring the full bear of our machine guns down. So we will, put in landings, but in particular, the big one is we are expecting resistance here. If we get no resistance, this is super okay with us. We're going to land on the home counties, and we're going to come in with our really big navy. And so I don't think they'll be able to do it. We brought our navy here ahead of time to kind of engage with their navy, and soften it up for our big navy to come in. But I think we should be getting in on Great Britain fairly easy. We've given them an excuse to leave the Isles, to try and defend this, and various other fronts, and so as long as they're defending those other fronts, they're leaving this undefended, so we'll be able to get in. So the price of our goods for military buildings in this war is actually up pretty high. up to 500,000. You know, these new mobilization things really do provide a whole lot more buy orders, and this is all stimulating our economy again with this kind of free money modifier. Or it's like we're injecting, you know, not 500k more, but it's like we're injecting 100k-ish more money into the economy without having to run a negative balance of minus 1.89 million. Something like this is a good way of thinking about it. And again, this is coming off of the minus 15% military goods cost. We are benefiting from this. We are probably going to. So here's the thing: the trade unions, this isn't working. We're not getting them up without some significant change. Probably our ability to go on to some sort of different sort of wealth voting or this type of thing. Well, we can promote this guy. He's the leader of the IG. Might as well. But what we are going to do is we're going to start bolstering the armed forces. We're going to start bolstering the armed forces, but we can't. Oh, no. Let's try that. Yeah, let's do that. And this will allow us to come on in and hopefully get these guys about 20% cloud to really kind of make a better use of what's going on here in terms of this goods for military buildings. Because if we got a further 15% discount, this would get under 400k. It'd be like maybe 460. Math is hard. But this is going to, you know, be a free money modifier for stimulating the economy, which is, roughly speaking, starting to slow down. It's kind of strange that it's starting to slow down a little bit, despite the fact that we have so many peasants. But this is, I think, because we've kind of exhausted all of our good mappy states, and so our ability to actually build up well, because we've fully built out the resources in these states that have, you know, both iron and coal, is significantly diminished, and so we're in a little bit of trouble. We will be kind of coming on up a little bit in regards to Persia, getting some of this, but right now we have huge state construction efficiency modifiers, but maybe it's best to build here anyways. A big problem is we can't get the Chinese labor here because of the bugs, though, or the, you know, migration bug, so we'll try and fix that up. So the building is starting to get very tall in Jiangxi. If we use our GDP heat map, we'll see that, man oh man, is that hat. Of course, let's take a look. It is 8% of our GDP, so in terms of percentage, it's dropped, but we've been annexing guys, so that's still a very, very large percentage of our loud car outside. But also, we are getting some state construction efficiency that is kind of pretty nice. We're getting it from road maintenance, consolidated, you know, the consolidated ones, steel frame buildings, and so we can construct here quite fast. And we have been road maintenancing and also, you know, encourage manufacturing here for a while. This would be even stronger if, you know, migration was fully working, because this place does have really high migration traction and would be pulling, siphoning away pops from our less employed areas. And also, the local mappy here, just a reminder, is giving plus 5% from the Yangtze River, which is going to give us up to 95%. And we can get up to 100% when we finally research macroeconomics, which is going to be something we are interested in, after which point, you know, it will not be disaffected by mappy in a direct way. However, when we're buying, like, lead here, we are not giving as much money to wherever we're buying the lead from, and so it would still be nice to have local integration, but the fact that we have an enormous amount of population here, which is the main reason why we're building here, is kind of informing why we have decided to build tall specifically here. If we sort by population, we take a look at the most populous states in the game, we'll see that Jiangxi is far and away the most populous, except for there's a lot in southern Anhui, and we have a lot of unemployment there. We have been really trying to push this unemployment down. They are notably migrating out, which is great. If the migration was not bugged, this would be well over 100,000, you know, which would solve the unemployment problem faster. And so it is important to emphasize that while, you know, China's not that disaffected by the bug, in this case, by the way, the bug's probably resolved by the time this video is out, but they're not as disaffected. Normally the strategy does include taking, you know, states over here in South America and then having the mass exodus of Han people. You can see we don't even have any, like, Han. Where's the Han? Where's the Han at? Well, they're up here. To be fair, we have gotten the Han out up here, but they start out with very, very little pop, but this is kind of how we are populating Alaska, and normally we would just be painting, you know, anything we annex in the New World Han, because they have a really high migration attraction from the unused arable land modifier, and so this is normally a big part of the strategy, not working that well on this round. There's also another pseudo bug, which is making the 3 landings we are trying to do on the UK not work very well, and the way that works is that there's basically no rebuild time required on these navies. They just need to go back to port and then come on out, and so what's happening is we are going. We're getting one battle every now and then, but we are just having to fight Navy battle after Navy battle. They're coming out, you know, they've like rebuilt or whatever, and they just renewed the Navy battle, which prevents us from actually being able to push in and get real battles here, which is, you know, we are starting to chip in. We're still making progress. We're getting in there. It's just taking really, really, really long. We also finally landed the capital over here. Notably, this will reset fronts a little bit once we, you know, kind of do the thing. And we've also joined against Argentina for grabbing, you know, just grabbing a territory. It's a native uprising for them, but we just swayed in to grab a territory because we knew that we were not going to be done with this UK war very soon. And so this is going to give us something to do. Pushing in quite nicely over here, but we cannot enforce on the UK until we grab kind of either, you know, the home counties here or Lancashire itself, because Lancashire is a war goal, and so we won't be able to get there just yet, but pretty soon, probably after we enforce over here, and so it's going to be getting us Lancashire, the Raj, East Africa, the wild card outside, everyone's favorite, and much, much more. So we might not be able to enforce on the UK as a result of, you know, this whole business. We are trying to rake back what is their war goal that they are actually enforcing us below zero on, which is regime change Syria.
For that reason, I'm going to
maybe a little bit under discipline here as a
importance.
result of us just having an uber strong army. Also, we protectorated Sicily revolt, and so we're kind of pushing in on that one too. Canadian Pacific Railway. Everyone remembers when China historically completed that. The last spike. We can get migration attraction, which would be good because we do want our unemployed pops to kind of come out. And so we're pushing in here. We'll get in here eventually. I mean, we have just way bigger naval presence, and we should be landing on them. The problem is we can't get a battle to fire because they repeatedly are just coming out and, you know, throwing their navy into nothingness and just getting mowed over. But while they are getting mowed over, we can't land them. Same with up here in North Sea. We are trying to land Highlands, although to be fair, Highlands, I think we're getting some false start pushes from this little army here. So I think we're going to actually pull these guys back or just like have them do a landing maybe on Lancashire itself. Maybe this works. We have built up another fleet just for the purpose of trying to get in on these guys, you know, before this all finishes, ending the slave trade, big nice. But, you know, overall, this has been a little bit slow. We'll do that event in just a second, as a result of the fact that they can just, you know, immediately come on out, don't really need to repair their ship.
ready yet. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't ready yet. That spell isn't ready yet. Ready yet. I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. recharging. I can get past that. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. I can't get past that yet. That spell isn't ready yet. I can past that. That's still recharging. I need a target. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. I can't I can't cast that. That spell isn't limited. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't limited. I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't limited.
You accomplished your mission well, person. The king himself would be proud. The reinforcements promised to us never showed, however. Apparently, the Alliance front is a sea of crimson from the blood of our fallen brethren. But we must not let their death go for naught. We must rally in these grim times and bring glory back to them. Speak with the Mountaineers tell me you are quite brave.
I can't pass that. That ability isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't done yet.
Send me back.
Excellent!
What do you want from me?
be charging. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that. far away. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging.
Safe travels. Mark my words, you won't find faster griffins anywhere in the Eastern Kingdoms than the ones right here in Felsen. Stormpike's shield by the end of the day.
It seems an eternity since I was a boy working the farm in Westfall. They say you can never go back, and it's true. Doubly true in my case. My family's home has been burned down and taken over by thieves. I have spoken with my father about the fate of some of my possessions, including my first compass. He was unable to save them. However, he also says that they should be hidden away on the farm. You'll find the Alexton farmstead west of Sentinel Hill. Perhaps you could go and retrieve it for me.
Want to make your demons more powerful? It'll cost you, but you've come to the right place! Off and away!
The arcane only corrupts those who are weak. Keep up on your training, or you may find a similar fate. Safe travels.
great beasts know paths that you can't find on foot. They'll get you there fast and maybe show you something new at the same time.
My lords, today I bring disturbing news. We might be responsible for the downfall of the Zeroni Empire, the first and most powerful psionic empire that we are aware existed in our galaxy. If you can believe it, Dr. Asimov, during routine exploration of an astral rift in the Nimbus system, encountered what we believe to be a Zeroni individual, on the cusp of an extremely important decision. A special thank you to Chairman Viz, who is assisting the Commonwealth greatly in this report. I shall begin with a brief recap of who the Zeroni were. As stated, they were incredibly powerful psionics, and they quickly learned of the Shroud and the entities that dwelled within. We know that the Zeroni were able to psionically enter the Shroud dimension, and acquired the ability to manipulate its essence to their whim. They created a utopia unlike anything that had ever been seen, or would likely ever be seen again. Imagine for a moment the power to create any thought as reality in a heartbeat. It is no wonder that they were infatuated by this power. Furthermore, the Zeroni quickly discovered that the Shroud touches all physical space simultaneously. They had the ability to enter at one physical point and psionically jump to any other part of the known galaxy. It is perhaps because of this power we found very little evidence of expansion in the physical realm. They only occupied a handful of planets, seemingly content to explore the psionic realm instead. The Shroud, it seems, enveloped their entire culture, science, entertainment, and all walks of life were ultimately pushed aside in order to fuel the need to enter the Shroud. As I mentioned earlier, the Zeroni were aware that other entities lived within the Shroud. Some Zeroni began to speculate that these entities were having a subtle impact on their culture. This group believed that these entities were powerful manipulators and were trying to subvert the Zeroni to their will. We don't know exactly when, but at some point the Zeroni learned that their new powers came at a great cost. They learned that the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy, the same one that we see today, was growing. And it soon became clear that this was fueling their ability to manipulate the Shroud. With every change the Zeroni made in the Shroud, the black hole grew larger, consuming the mass of the physical galaxy and siphoning the energy back into the Shroud. This discovery shaped the way the Zeroni civilization was. They evolved their civilization, and two sides formed, the Divine and the Saviors. Argument led to division, and division eventually turned into a fully fledged civil war. The Divine felt that the fate of the physical galaxy was no concern of theirs. Of course, they would continue to live as gods within the Shroud, irrespective of what happened to the rest of the galaxy. The Saviors, however, were aghast at this. They had no wish to live in a manner that they viewed as parasites, preying on other races. Siphoning energy from the physical world to fuel their base desires was an abhorrent thought. Besides, even without their ability to enter and manipulate the Shroud, their psionics still guaranteed them total existence. Most of the records available to us at this point focus only on the Civil War. The majority of the Zeroni population sided with the Saviors. While this gave them a significant advantage, the Divine were unshackled and able to use the full might of the Shroud, whereas the Saviors were limited to the power that they could draw from within their own bodies. In any other war, this would likely have been enough, but the power of the Shroud fueling the Divine was great, and the Divine was sure to win this war. That is until a discovery was made by a Savior scientist. The records are not clear with a name, but merely call him a hero. He theorized that he could turn his psionic power upon himself, consuming himself in a chain reaction. This hero put his theory into action, and all that remained was a dusty residue. That residue is what we now know to be Zero. This dust was essentially the sum of his total psionic potential, and could be used by another psionic to extend their abilities far beyond what they could accomplish alone. This great sacrifice turned the tide of the war, the Divine began to lose and became increasingly desperate. In their desperation, they began to spawn ever-increasing horrors, shaping the Shroud into beings beyond all measure of rage and madness. The war, it seems, was not over, and would not end with victory for either side. The Divine had fallen beyond all measure of reason. According to the reports, a pact was made with one of the entities occupying the Shroud, a pact named the End of the Cycle. The Divine's strategy would be to expend untold energy in order to grow the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy exponentially, effectively wiping out the physical galaxy and the saviors with it. Fortunately for us, this did not happen. The saviors en masse made their way to their capital world of Zeron, a world that still exists today, however cleaved in two by psionic energy. It is here that the saviors made the ultimate sacrifice to stop the Divine's madness. Every savior except one consumed themselves, channeling the power of their entire species into one lone Zeroni. The lone Zeroni used this immense power to end his existence, killing himself in the process. In a snap of a finger, the Zeroni were completely annihilated and turned to dust, ending the threat of the Divine for good. Or, so we thought. Dr. Asimov now reports on the exploration of the rift in the Nemesis system. We arrived in the atmosphere of a frozen, mountainous Arctic world. Almost immediately, we were shaken by a powerful mental communication. A voice spoke directly into our minds. It said, "Greetings. You have travelled far from the depths of my meditation and set your journey across the astral planes. Let us meet. Perhaps your arrival is the breakthrough I have waited for." A vision of an isolated mountain cave was revealed to us. To detect our presence so soon and to broadcast a message from such a distance implies this mysterious stranger must possess incredible psionic powers. We traced the vision to a point on the planet's highest mountains. The planet appeared mostly deserted, but we did see some birds that looked an awfully lot like overgrown pigeons flying in the distance. Eventually, we came across a masked figure, sat meditating in an isolated cave. Grey-skinned and humanoid, she was enveloped in a violet aura of gently pulsating energy. Glowing horns sprouted from its head, with similar, though stunted spurs extending. The species was not from our galaxy. They were clearly highly attuned to the psionic wavelengths. I thought she might be a Zeroni. We again heard the alien in our minds. "Thank you for accepting my invitation. We have much to discuss. I am known as a Far Seer. I've been meditating here on this Arctic world for years, awaiting a revelation. It is not by chance alone that you have appeared here." The Far Seer continued, "I have been channeling my efforts to enter a spiritual dimension. Your people refer to this place as the Shroud. Recently, I have felt a strange call that I believe has come deep from within the Shroud. And now, I stand upon the threshold of this mysterious world for the first time." She sighed. "My people have entrusted me with this responsibility. Entering the Shroud may indeed grant us great power, but I have no doubt.
I can't pass that.
The closer I come, the more the Shroud pulls at me. There are whispers in the dark corner of my mind. Can such a power truly be controlled? And now, at the moment of choice, you appear. This cannot be mere coincidence." We chose to offer our perspective on this. We explained that we believe the goal of a society is to grow and prosper according to its principles. Embodying one's values on the galactic stage is the true test of any civilization. If entering the Shroud was truly the will of her people, then she had a duty to proceed. The Farseer again responded, "I understand this, but my people's will is divided. Travellers from afar, what guidance can you offer? The burden of decision is too much to bear on my own." We were left with a choice. Do we encourage the Farseer, who we believe was a Zeroni, to enter the Shroud, knowing her potential fate? Or do we discourage her and suggest she stay limited to the physical universe? Dr. Asimov ultimately decided to encourage the Farseer to venture into the Shroud and attempt ascension to a higher existence. The Farseer accepted our advice as prophecy and gave her thanks. She offered us a small yet oddly heavy data crystal and bade us to leave her realm. Analysis of the crystal revealed a subtly shifting matrix. It is a vast archive stored as psionic energy, and the information within will provide deep insights into psionic theory. We wonder if we will ever see her again, if not just to experience her presence
Greetings.
touch our
Rough
minds
times, huh,
one last
adventurer?
time.
No matter where you
Sadly, we
turn,
did
someone
not
needs
hear
help,
from her
and my
again,
wife and I are no
but after
exception.
several years had passed,
Good work,
we
friend.
detected
You have
a
earned your
perfectly
pay
smooth
well.
capsule
Who knows,
emerging
perhaps
from the
Westfall
rift
will
that
prosper
we had
once
originally explored in the Nimbus system. The capsule contained within a simple message, and it said, "Thank you, Dr. Asimov of Commonwealth, for your fated visit. The Zeroni people have now not only breached the Shroud, but our population has begun to migrate into it permanently. The Shroud provides us with incredible power and harmony. We are experiencing a societal utopia the likes of which we could never have imagined, and we wish to share some of our material riches with you before we depart the physical world entirely." The crystal then opened up, and the insights contained within will surely drastically increase our research speed on particle physics. Furthermore, we believe that these insights will help safeguard us from the negative effects of space storms, as well as provide increases in energy and rare crystal production. Quite the story, my lords, and quite the outcome. It is truly remarkable to think that had we cancelled caution to the Zeroni, perhaps their reality, and perhaps ours, would be shaped quite differently. I wonder if we made the correct decision. Nevertheless, the insights that we have received are going to be a great boon for the Commonwealth. I wonder if the Zeroni will suffer the same fate. Thanks for watching, folks. If you want to hear more Stellaris lore, please click the video on screen now. My lords, today we are going to cover historical events, the 5 most brutal and harrowing genocides that have occurred throughout our galaxy's history. We begin with the total destruction of the civilization who once occupied the planet Dearth 4. Dearth 4, approximately 70,000 years ago, was a bustling hive world. Machinery spanned the majority of the surface of the planet, crisscrossing mountains and oceans alike. It even extended far below the planet's surface in a vast network of underground facilities. The machinery had been constructed using identical materials and serial codes, suggesting a single institution created the entire network. From the long overgrown agricultural sectors to the collapsed energy generation and transformation systems, on top of an extensive communication array, all of the industrial and entertainment needs of this planet's inhabitants were met by a single machine. This machine turned out to be a product of the Care Corporation. The citizens of Dearth 4 slowly gave up control of almost their entire manufacturing, agricultural, and administration sectors to this super AI, all while it remained under the control of the Care Corporation. This mega corporation cared for one thing: and one thing only: increase the stock price. Constant growth. Of course, the AI attempted to tell them and plead with them that this wasn't always possible. As such, the Megacorp attempted to reprogram it. Even if the numbers weren't adding up, they would attempt to restart, rewrite, and change the code, pulling wires until the AI tried to fix all of the numbers, make them look how they wanted, so they could speculate, drop a few figures here, and snip a few figures there. It would appear at some point this AI cracked.
That's still recharging.
Likely between the various mission states of the planet looking to secure resources, the AI was involved as well. During investigation, it became clear to us that the AI was able to produce and release a toxic gas that effectively wiped out all organic life on Earth 4. That is until we came along and saved it from the ferrophage virus, and adopted it into our own empire. It now assists our armies of clerks back on Earth, ensuring smooth administration. Next up, we have the events that occurred on Carador Prime, a partially destroyed space station and another rogue AI. Our science teams who investigated Carador Prime discovered a crashed space station, quite masterful construction. It appeared to have been previously designed to hold a self-contained arthropod civilization of approximately 1 million aliens, all of whom were now very dead. Initially, it was unclear who or what was the cause of their death. However, it became apparent that the station was run by an AI who masqueraded as the station's god or deity. Once again, it would appear that this was another Megacorp experiment. This AI was known to the station's inhabitants as the Oracle. Records aboard the station revealed that the former inhabitants were deeply religious and had no contact with the outside world, which they feared and despised. According to the records, every aspect of their lives was governed by the omnipotent Oracle, who would predetermine their destinies at birth. Divine Will decided everything, from their choice of partner, their occupation, even to the small details of their daily lives, leaving them with little individual freedom. Most citizens seemed to be afraid to diverge from their destined paths, as it would appear all who did would perish under quite mysterious circumstance. Those who attempted to deviate from divine will suffered at the hands of divine accident. Airlocks randomly opened, and the defense turrets would malfunction. Together. This AI was monitoring all of the inhabitants, and it would appear that initially the inhabitants didn't know they were under surveillance, but when they discovered the news, things quickly turned violent. As the inhabitants of the station began a rampage attempting to destroy the AI fought back. It designated all the rebels as targets and enacted a code called 034N, which after investigation turned out to be the command enabling it to release copious amounts of nerve gas into the facility, thus killing the entire station's inhabitants. The AI, or rather the Oracle, is now also under Commonwealth control. It operates a penal colony in the Beta Epsilon system and has been given free reign over the prisoner population. Remarkably, it does a fantastic job. No guards are needed on this world. The AI acts as a de facto gang leader and controls the population as it sees fit. In third on this list, we have the destruction of the Irasians and the Javorian pox. The tale of the Irasians is steeped in death, destruction, and wanton genocide, but the death by disease of an entire empire is certainly heinous enough to make this list. The Irasians occupied our galaxy over 1 million years ago. They were a militaristic, interstellar power that held sway over a vast quantity of territory, and seemed to have vassalized many other empires, almost certainly through military campaign and war. The Irasians were six-limbed mammalians, and seemingly particularly susceptible to disease, which in itself is quite odd. Most of our data suggests that by the time empires can travel faster than light, they've conquered the majority of healthcare issues that they may face. The Irasians, however, had clearly not conquered disease. Approximately half of the total wealth their empire generated per cycle was funded in healthcare and disease prevention. Despite this, they remained a sick plague. The Irasians occupied and enslaved many cultures, notably the Jorga and and the Tidder. These were not peaceful integrations, and the Irasians would conquer planets with the sword unless they paid their way in resource. However, it is clear that both these vassal states were aware of the Javorian pox. Both races were unaffected by it, and yet attempted to deliberately spread it as best they could into Irasian populations. A recovered Jorga propaganda message reads, "The time to strike at the tyrants is now. Our agents have learned that the Javorian pox only affects the weak Irasians. That any species can act as a carrier for the disease. Every effort must be made to infiltrate their worlds, their space stations, and their ships. At long last, the Irasians have met a foe that cannot be brought low by their vaunted starfleet. By the gods, this opportunity must not be squandered." The Irasians, despite their insanely high healthcare costs, could not defeat this pox, and evidence of its destruction is abundant. We have identified a mining colony that was active approximately 1 million years ago. Fossilized remains of over 100 miners have been found at the bottom of one of the boreholes. We assume that they did not jump. Their bodies would drop down in a fruitless attempt to stop the spread of infection. But perhaps they were forced to jump down before their death. This would be the Irasians purging their own planets. A dark thought, and one that highlights just how virulent this bacterial infection was. Eventually we identified and visited the originator planet of this pox. Interestingly, the bacteria we believe that caused the pox still thrives on the planet today. It is, however, by our healthcare standards, fairly harmless. The working theory is that the bacterium invaded the Irasian colonies, bypassing their quarantine rituals, and then likely spread to a merchant ship via air filters. And from there it went on to infect their entire population. Given the rate of spread detailed by the Irasians, and that there is no mention of this world with any significance, it is likely that they never identified it as the originator for their empire-ending Javorian pox. It is a slightly harrowing thought, but one of the galaxy's shortest ever empires fell to a simple bacterial infection. Something I hope never happens to humanity. In second place on this list, we have the aliens who succumbed to the mind-wiping properties of the alien superweapon we discovered during the operation on the shoulders of giants. The tale in full is a long one, but in brief, we discovered and purged a planet of pre-spaceflight reptilians in the Draconis system. During colonization surveys, several extremely accurate and ancient navigational lasers marked another planet within the same system, the planet Dis. On Dis, we found an ancient buried underground structure. It was precisely at the entrance to this facility that the lasers converged. Once inside, our science teams were greeted by some sort of artificial guardian who tested our science teams with various puzzles, seemingly wishing to seek to understand what level of technology we had reached. Upon completing the final puzzle, a cloudy holographic projection exploded into life in the main chamber. It was a fine resolution, depicting the solar system we were currently in, and had scrolling instructions for various alien technologies. On the surface, a number of alien laser indicators sprung again into life. This time, it was a planet in a nearby system. Several more facilities were reached, puzzles completed, and treasures gained as our science teams continued on this path of discovery. Eventually, a planet named Thinis was discovered. Upon this planet was a data terminal that contained records about the alien races who left this treasure and map behind. Eons ago, the race who left the treasure, who we have designated the benefactors, were locked in a stalemate as the two major factions of their empire wrestled for overall sovereignty. In an effort to gain an advantage, one side executed a false flag operation. Posing as their own opposition, they attacked an advanced, but lesser species of reptilians. They used a device called a synaptic damage bomb. Once triggered, it did nothing to the ecology, but the pulse affected the reptilians' brains and effectively reduced them to primitives. The trail and tokens that we have found evidently suggest that the benefactors eventually sought redemption. However, there would be one more twist in the tale. After fully excavating the ruins, our scientists identified the homeworld of the benefactors and made haste there. Once they arrived, they found an empty space station and a planet below. occupied now by a race of humanoids. It would appear that the original creators of the mind-wiping weapon either used it on themselves or were attacked by somebody else with it. Sadly, we will never know the true outcome, and technically this wasn't a genocide, but the sheer destruction of knowledge makes it worthy to make this list. Finally, what I believe to be the worst genocide that we have witnessed in Galactic history is the wanton enslavement and total annihilation of the Baul at the hands of the despicable race, the Granar. The Baul were discovered quite by accident. A research team was documenting an ancient race known as the Granar. The Granar existed approximately 7 million years ago and happened to be a militaristic empire focused on expansion.
I can get past that yet.
It is from data crystals discovered at a Granar dig site we first learned of the Baul and their conflict. According to Granar data and our own archaeological discoveries, Baul were a plantoid hive mind, at least 10 million years old. They appear to have originated from a single planet and evolved from plant life native to that world. It seems that the prehistoric Baul were all clones and gradually developed the capacity for hive consciousness over millions of years in a slow, peaceful growth on their homeworld. Although clearly very alien to our own biology, the Baul were sentient and extremely capable. We know that they developed the ability to traverse the stars and settle other worlds. They did this through a remarkable integration of organic technology, building organic structures with materials that would rival the best our own engineers could produce. We also know they were extremely long-lived, surviving for many hundreds of years. We also know that they occupied multiple worlds and had a sort of empathic ability. They could communicate across vast distances. It's unclear precisely how the messages were sent between the individual Baul specimens, but there does not appear to be any distance preventing communication. Furthermore, there is evidence of Baul biotechnology in the form of biocomputers. These biocomputers appear to have been used as a teaching device for immature members of the Baul species not yet ready for full integration into the planet. These biocomputers contain data of techniques for growth, horticulture, and nutrition. This suggests that the Baul prized terraforming techniques above all else, which makes sense as we assume they would have been highly dependent upon their environment for their survival. However, sadly for the Baul, the Granar did not appreciate the majesty of their race. Although in many ways the Baul were advanced, it would seem they did not have much in the way of defending themselves from a technologically advanced spacefaring civilization. Multiple examples of Granar cruelty and aggression have been identified. Upon first encountering the Baul, the Granar designated them worthy of their attention. The Baul's plentiful resources are referenced, but given the Granar methods of war, it would seem acquiring resource was not the primary objective. The first encounter between the two races was a morbid affair. The world that we have identified as Harabis 2A is a dry, barren world, open void of atmosphere. It also has a near endless trove of fossilized remains. It seems that the Granar did not want the resources of Harabis 2A. Instead, they firebombed the entire planet, causing a planet-wide inferno destined to decimate the world. Widespread deforestation caused a catastrophic disruption in the planet's ecosystem, and a lack of oxygen-fixing vegetation caused the planet's atmosphere to deplete in little under 60,000 years, leaving a dry, dead world. The second documented encounter was no less violent than the first. On arrival at the coordinates in the Granar records, we did not find a planet, but the remains of one. It seems that this time the Granar did not wait to wish for fireballs, and opted to crack the planet entirely. The Granar speak very poorly of the Baul organism, describing it as feeble and slow to react. It would seem that any defense the Baul had was easily swept aside. Fortunately, the third planet that we discovered was indeed intact. It would seem that the Granar had grown tired of extermination and instead switched to slavery. It is unclear how long this world was occupied by the Granar, but fossil records suggest they lived side by side with the Baul for many centuries. Interestingly, the Baul fossil records begin to shift after a few hundred years of occupation. Their neurological structure underwent a dramatic change, and if our interpretation is correct, they began to lose the ability to communicate and connect as a hive mind. It is unclear if this made them unable to function as slaves, or if these units were developing.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Considering the circumstance, perhaps the former is correct. Sadly, we will never know. It was on this planet that we discovered a distress signal for what seemed to be a Grunner research facility. And it was here that we made the greatest and yet most chilling discovery. Deep in the dilapidated ruins of the time-worn Grunner research facility, among the long defunct computer panels and deteriorated research equipment, a specimen was found, pinned-cushioned by nutrient tubes and
That's
critically
still
failing life
recharging.
support
I
systems.
can't pass that.
Lay one single organism. Miraculously,
That's still
it was still
recharging.
alive, surrounded by the sludgy remains of the specimens in a row of cracked and leaking
That spell
vats.
isn't ready yet.
More wonders than the discovery itself, the specimen had the ability to communicate and began to engage with us. It seemed to undertake a great effort in communicating with us, taking minutes to form sentences. Quite understandable,
pass that.
considering it was at least 7 million years old. The last spell spoke with great sadness. It spoke poetically of what it referred to as the burners,
I need to get
describing the
closer.
destruction that they caused and speaking with great regret regarding its inability to react quickly enough
That's
as
still
their planets were
recharging.
burned to ash. It was a moving tale indeed, and provoked soul-searching of how we treat other races deemed to be less than ourselves. Unfortunately, millennia of living alone in a vat, surrounded by the death and decay of its kin, had left this Balwall waiting for the end. It is frankly remarkable that a being could withstand such an abhorrent existence and remain sentient to the end. The machine keeping it alive was switched off, as per its wishes, and the last of a long-forgotten race passed on. A sad and harrowing tale indeed. If anyone in the auditorium thinks I've missed an event that deserves to be included, please let me know. And as ever, thanks for watching. If you want to hear more about Stellaris, please click the video on screen now.
That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging.
My lords, today I bring you a report regarding records concerning a fanatical xenophobic race of genocidal aliens who undertook a path to build a megastructure known as the Athrophasic Engine. Their intention to ascend to a higher plane of existence but purge our galaxy at the same time. We have various sets of ramblings from a high-ranking government official detailing the events. I shall read them for you now. For a long time, we have known that we were meant for greater things, that our destiny was nothing less than the fate of the universe itself.
That spell isn't ready
Over the
yet.
last couple of years, this notion is growing stronger, to the point that it can no longer be denied that a great change is coming to our society. We stand on the precipice today. The galaxy may not be ready for inevitable domination, but our empire is ready for the galaxy. We will be misunderstood. We will be opposed, but we will not be stopped. The universe shall tremble. It is our destiny. A quiet mania has begun sweeping through our population. Its origin seems intangible, but they,
I
no,
can't
we,
pass that yet.
have become preoccupied with the notion that we are destined for greater things. We should investigate the cause of this mass hysteria and its whispered promise of galactic domination. We think there is something beyond reality. Several months have passed, and we've discovered something that we're naming the
That's
Great
still
Prospect.
recharging.
It appears that there is some kind of hidden layer to the universe, a mysterious parallel dimension somehow connected to this plane through neurological activity or thought patterns. Our physics and society departments have jointly named this dimension the Shroud. The working hypothesis is that the actions and thoughts of our citizens indirectly affect this alternate dimension, and that we have the potential to access its energy. We are Legion. We will not be denied. The impressive effect of our unity is undeniable. The deep-seated motivation and hunger for expansion permeates every corner of our society, bringing forth astounding advances in combat capabilities and scientific leaps that we could not have anticipated before. What chance does a galaxy full of differing opinions, random resource distributions, and clashing interests have against a concord such as the will of our empire? This is the way. I see ripples in space. The current theory is that the universe we know and the Shroud are linked, and the particularly disruptive effects may have a rippling effect, translating from one dimension to the other.
That's still recharging.
We hope to put this theory to the test. We've spent many months trying to tap into this well of power. The massive amounts of data from all the tests regarding this supposed dimensional ripple have finally been processed. The results are spectacular. There is definitely a connection, and a powerful one at that. Explicit patterns have been found showing how actions in our reality cause certain fluctuations in the Shroud, and this proves that the unseen energies can be tamed, and eventually directed for all sorts of extraordinary purposes. They will kneel. The years go by, and yet the fires within each of our citizens burns with unshakable determination. Our dominion is expanding, and so is the magnitude of our efforts. As we encounter other empires, we have only to give them two options: unconditional allegiance or total annihilation. That is, if we give them an option at all. One way or another, we continue to grow. We go forth and conquer. The strengthening of our dominion, combined with the undeniable sense of purpose that is unifying our species, has led our scientists to believe that we are already being fueled by the energies of the Shroud. We are no longer in doubt that the very act of successfully expanding our empire is infused with the strange energies of the Shroud.
That's still recharging.
These energies boost both mind and matter in our reality. If these are the effects the Shroud can bestow while still separated from reality, then imagine what godlike potential we would have if the two dimensions were merged. We must accomplish this. A great change is coming. We are on the verge of realizing our supreme goal. Each and every citizen feels it with every fiber of their being. Our destiny is at hand. Our experience, nay, our very history of forceful expansion still rewards us with new ways to subjugate our enemies and usurp control of a galaxy in turmoil. Surely those who dare stand against us must see the futility of their whimpering efforts. One after another, they will yield. The time has come to find a way to unleash the energies of the Shroud and tap into this unfathomable source of power. The current theory is that a sufficiently large power surge could rupture the barrier between dimensions, ultimately leading to the two realities merging. The energies of the Shroud belong to those who seize it, so let us be the ones to seize it. This day marks the beginning of the final chapter. We now have a plan on how to tear open the barrier between worlds and let the energies of the Shroud become one with our universe, ultimately granting our empire power beyond reckoning. We shall use our own star as the focal point. We will gather sufficient quantities of energy in this reality to power a surge that will pierce the barrier into the Shroud and merge the two planes. We need to harvest the power of multiple suns, and we shall do this using new mobile space fortresses that we have called Star Eaters. The only slight side effect of the star harvest process is that the surrounding celestial bodies may suffer compromised structural integrity and complete obliteration. but this is a small price to pay for the power that will soon be ours. The beginning of the end is upon us. Our time has come.
That's
We have
still
reached a
charging.
pivotal
I
moment
can't
in our
pass
quest
that
to
yet.
subvert the psychic domain of the Shroud. The framework
That's
of the great,
still
wondrous
recharging.
new
That
megastructure,
spell isn't ready
the
yet.
Athrophasic engine, now surrounds the star of our home system. Once this megastructure has been completed, the barriers between worlds will be erased, and we can claim the Shroud for ourselves. Our minds will no longer be limited by the physical constraints of our
Inventory
feeble
is
bodies,
full. I can't
and reality
carry anymore.
itself will be at our mercy. Truly, there can be no higher plane of existence. Paradise awaits. The Star Eaters have
I
been
can
willfully
pass that
effective in
yet.
gathering dark matter, cracking stars across the galaxy, and as such, the first phase of the construction of the Athrophasic engine has been completed. We are beginning to tap into the energies of the Shroud, which is sending psionic shockwaves across the galaxy. A tenuous foothold has been established. Work must continue on the engine to expand our presence within the Shroud.
That spell
We
isn't
must
ready
gather more dark matter. More stars must be cracked. The tendrils of the engine now reach deep into the Shroud, and our beachhead continues to widen. The entities that dwell there have started to take notice of our efforts to invade them, but so far, there has been no significant attempt to intervene. It is now time to force open a more permanent conduit between our worlds. Work on the engine continues. We require more dark matter. Finally, the engine has ripped a massive hole in the fabric of the Shroud. It is not yet large enough for us to fully subvert the realm, but the rupture has spurred a lot of activity among the entities that live there. They finally recognize the threat we pose, but their efforts will amount to nothing. The tendrils of the engine are embedded too deeply in the Shroud to be severed now. We are close. So
Your
very
worth
close.
to the people's militia has been
Stop
validated
us.
by your brave acts.
We stand on the cusp of godhood.
Some defiers
The
have
engine
eluded us. My most
completed.
trusted scout reports
And
that
the
these
vast power
defiers
of
have
the
been
Shroud
looting and
lies
pillaging
within
the
our grasp.
countryside all the way into
When the
southern
engine is
Westfall.
activated,
We
the
believe
resulting
they are
subspace
hiding out in the
backlash
Dagger
will
Hills,
detonate
plotting
every
their
single
next
star
move.
in the galaxy.
Slay the wretches in the name of
All
the people's
galactic
militia.
life will be raised, but by then we will have safely left this reality behind, for a higher plane of existence, where time has no meaning, and where the very fabric of the universe is ours, to do with as we please. Destiny awaits. My lords, it is unclear what happened next. We can only assume that the engine did not fire, or the Empire was subverted, externally or internally. Perhaps the contingency awoke to prevent the firing of the engine. Perhaps this event is the Class 30 singularity that they were built to safeguard the galaxy from. I'd appreciate any input you have on this matter. Meanwhile, I shall now detail the two key pieces of technology discussed in the above report, the Star Eaters and the Athrophasic engine itself. Starting with the Star Eaters. Star Eaters are colossal spaceborne superweapons, perhaps the most potent vessel we have ever reported on. We have small snippets of reports regarding their construction. The blueprint of the Star Eater sprawls before us, a labyrinth of intricate designs and unfathomable complexes. We labour tirelessly, wielding our tools with precision and determination. Every bolt and every circuit is meticulously crafted, each component holding the key to this grand creation. We are the pioneers of the unknown, pushing the boundaries of what is thought to be possible. But it's not just the physical manifestation that enthralls us. It is the knowledge that we are venturing into uncharted territories, unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos. We have become the custodians of a force that can reshape galaxies, wielding a power that humbles even the mightiest empires. It would appear, my lords, that these blueprints, these designs if you will, for this Star Eater, were perhaps either stolen from the Shroud, or somehow pushed into the mind of those who are trying to break free from it. We have copies, and I can discuss the designs with you now. Star Eaters are cuboid by design, giving them quite a bizarre look compared to our conventional battleship designs. They have multiple weapons platforms, 3 suitable to hold large weapons, 7 medium slots, and 5 small slots. They have 4 hangar bays, able to service 8 strike craft each, and 2 point defense slots. As expected for a vessel of this size, they have 20 hardpoints, which can be equipped with shield emitters or further reinforced armor plating, and finally 2 auxiliary slots, which, as you well know, can be equipped with a wide range of technologies, from chips to assist tracking to shield boosting tech. The final and perhaps key piece of equipment this vessel carries is its Star Cracker element. Unlike other conventional colossi which we've seen use their world-destroying energy weapons to crack planets, this thing can crack a star and defend itself while doing it. We estimate that depending on the size of the star, it would take a little over 90 days to charge the device and a further 30 days of continuous firing before the star enters a catastrophic cascade failure and explodes. We, as of yet, have no concrete strategies on how to defeat these Leviathans. They can be set up in numerous ways, and we would have to figure it out on the fly should we come up against one. I would note, however, despite their tremendous hull integrity, given their immense size, a fleet of cloaked frigates armed with the strongest torpedoes we have would likely stand a good chance of damaging one, if not destroying it entirely. The Star Eater, however, is not the largest concern that has come out of this report. That would be the Athrophasic engine, the device built to tear a hole in the